Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Today is Wednesday, February 18th, and this is the regular Kingsburg City Council meeting. If you would please stand. The invocation will be given by Pastor Mark Thompson from the First Baptist Church.
Let us bow and pray. Lord God, we begin by saying thank you. Thank you for the city that you've placed us in. Thank you for all the wonderful people who live and make this town their home. We are so grateful for Kingsburg. Lord, I pray that your spirit will move tonight. I pray that you will bless the leaders here of our city. Pray that you will bring protection over the people of our city. Pray that you continue to provide for us, from things as simple as rain to all of our needs. And we just pray that your favor will shower us. So we just want to say thank you, and we invite you here, and we ask for your goodness to roll in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right, I'd like to call the meeting to order and get a roll call.
Present.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Our next item is to approve the agenda. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is presentations, and tonight we have none. So, public comment. This provides an opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items of interest to the public within the council's jurisdiction, which are not already on the agenda this evening. It is the policy of council not to answer questions impromptu. Speakers should limit their comments to not more than 3 minutes. For items which are on the agenda this evening, members of the public will be provided an opportunity to address the council as each item is brought up for discussion. Is there anyone here for public comment? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment and move on to the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered routine and include a recommended action from staff and shall be acted on in one motion of the council. If a council member requests an additional information or would like to pull an item for discussion, that item shall be pulled from the consent calendar and acted upon separately. A motion to approve the consent calendar is deemed to include a motion to waive the full reading of any ordinance or resolution on the consent calendar. Tonight, we have items 1 through 3. Would any council member like to pull an item to be discussed?
I'd like to pull item number 3.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone from staff or from the public, would you like to pull an item? Okay. Okay, so we pass the consent calendar less the one item now, or do we discuss it first? Okay.
We pass the items that are not full.
Okay.
Discuss them.
Okay. Can I get a motion for consent items 1 and 2? Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The items 1 and 2 pass. So item number 3.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. So I see that Chief Stevens is in the audience tonight. So that's part of the reason why I pulled item number 3. I just wanted to get a little bit more clarity on that particular item because I just wanted to reach out to you and ask if that is going to make the entire staff safer in addition to the citizens that work there. Is that the reasoning why we're going with the new security system? So that would be number 1. And then number two would be, I noticed that there wasn't several different bids on that particular item. So can you clarify why there was only one bid on that item as well?
Yes, good evening, Council, Madam Mayor. Um, yeah, so the first question is, does that make the staff and all the civilian employees safer? It does. We currently have an access system to get into the police department and to secure areas such as the armory, the evidence room, all the entrance points coming into the police department or Sally Port. We currently have that system in place. That system has been at the PD since it was built in 2002 or 2003. So the system's pretty old. The reason we're looking to upgrade this is we recently had a audit by CGIS, which is the FBI component that does all of our computer systems, such as confidential information, criminal histories, driver's license information, things like that. There's parts of the police department that are accessible to people that walk through the police department, and that information can be up on our computers, which that would be a violation. We have to keep that stuff, those systems, if somebody has a driver's license or a driver's record up on the computer, we have to keep those confidential. So we had places within the police department that needed to have the access compliance installed. I talked with Kingsburg Media Foundation, who oversees our current system and installed our, they didn't install it, but they have since taken over that role in providing the access codes, the basically they maintain the system we have now. So if anything breaks or anything like that, they're the ones that come in and fix it, order the parts to fix it. Our system is old and it's at the end of life. To add the components that we would need to secure certain areas, such as where our detectives are, that area has to be secured. To add to the system is about $5,000. The problem with that is our system is at end of life. So we could spend $5,000 now, and another area in the police department, the entrance door, the Sally Port gate, things like that, they could fail, and we would be stuck ordering parts and trying to get parts because the system is so old that we might not be able to get them. And if we can't, then we're going to have to do something to upgrade that system anyways. So to save money in the long run for the city and to keep everything secure, we looked at just upgrading the whole system, going to something that's more standard, state of the art, that will last for years to come. We use Kingsburg Media Foundation as the sole source, one, because they already have clearance to be in the police department and do work there. So they can be in our areas and do that. And second is they currently maintain our system now. So if we chose to go with another vendor, we would have to go out and get bids. We would have to see if what they offer would be compatible with the system we have now. And we would have to do some type of clearance to allow those employees to work inside the police department, which could prolong getting a system installed for, could be months while that takes place.
Is there another local person that handles that type of, I don't work in the police field, obviously, so I don't know. Is there other local businesses that handle that?
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sure there are Fresno, Visalia, but as far as Kingsburg, no.
Okay.
Kingsburg Media is the vendor that we've used to maintain our system, and again, they provide all of our ID card access, proxy cards, things like that. So it just made sense for us to stay with a single vendor, only because it's probably more cost effective in the long run, other than going out and getting more bids and possibly having to change our whole system. And Kingsburg Media would have to then try to maintain somebody else's system.
Okay. All right. Nothing further, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
With that, I'll make a motion to approve consent calendar item number 3.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So the consent calendar Passes. Moving on to our regular calendar. So our first item is the Kingsburg TNR program. Staff report by Community Services Director Adam Castaneda.
Well, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. So tonight, staff just wishes to recognize and commend the Kingsburg TNR or Trap, Neuter, and Release volunteer group for their impact on improving community health and quality of life here in Kingsburg. This dedicated group of Kingsburg residents ensures that community cats or feral cats, like what you used to be known, are humanely trapped, brought to a veterinarian to be spayed or neutered, vaccinated, ear-tipped, and then released back out into their outdoor homes. TNR improves cats' lives and improves just their quality of life and the community that they live in. Because the city of Kingsburg does not have a dedicated animal control department, the TNR program operates as a community partnership between these volunteers and the city's community services department. While my staff and myself no longer participate in the physical trapping operations of this program, we do provide administrative guidance, coordination, and financial support for this program. The city has established 2 agreements with Fresno-based veterinary clinics that perform the spay and neuter operations. Since 2018, the city has dedicated about $5,000 annually to this program. But because of this new group and their dedication to it, we've increased it this past year to $20,000. Just because of their success in the program alone. I'll invite them shortly up to address you, but just within the last year, 185 cats approximately have been treated, and it's a great success for 1 year. In 2024, the TNR program was revitalized, like it previously mentioned, by April Johnson, Kim Eskew, and Debbie Plain, which are 3 Kingsburg residents passionate about animal welfare and community service. Under their leadership, the newly formed Kingsburg TNR volunteer group has reestablished a structured, proactive approach to addressing feral and community cat colonies throughout the city. And I'll invite them up to talk about the current efforts and the colonies and kind of how that works within the city. But at this time, like I said, we just wanted to recognize their efforts and give you a little bit of information just about the program that they've been operating, or the Community Services Department's been operating since 2018. So with that, I'll invite up April Johnson and Debbie Plain. These are our head coordinators for the program, and they'll just kind of give you some information and answer any questions that you have.
Good evening. I'm April Johnson, and before we begin, we'd like to sincerely thank the City of Kingsburg, council members, Madam Mayor, for the support of this program. Your partnership has allowed us to make measurable progress in humanely managing our community's feral cat population. Kim Eskew and I started Kingsburg TNR in October of 2024 to address growing need in Kingsburg.
I'm Debbie Plain. I began doing TNR independently in 2023, and I joined up with April in 2024 to expand the program's reach throughout Kingsburg. Together, we've built a focused volunteer-led effort that prioritizes high-impact areas and responsible population control.
We're not a nonprofit. We're just a small volunteer group donating our time to manage the feral cat population in a responsible, effective way. TNR stands for Trap, Neuter, Return. Cats are humanely trapped, spayed or neutered, vaccinated, ear-tipped for identification, and returned to the exact location where they were found. Relocating is illegal in California and only worsens the problem.
So like Adam said, since October of 2024, we have spayed and neutered. It's now nearly 200 cats in Kingsburg. Our priority is feral cats, feral colonies, especially in the retail areas, downtown, schools, apartments, and senior living communities, places where the overpopulation becomes highly visible and impacts the public.
Of those cats, about 40 were removed from the streets and placed into homes through rescue contacts. While rehoming isn't something we normally do and have the resources to focus on, sometimes we get lucky with the right contacts, the right people, the right time, the right cat.
The city's budget covers spay and neuter surgeries, the core vaccines. We work with low-cost providers, primarily Central California SPCA in Fresno and New Village Pets in Selma. And our goal is to stretch those funds as far as possible.
We have addressed the most major problem areas, but this work is ongoing. To prevent new litters and abandonment from reversing progress, we anticipate maintaining about 10 to 15 surgeries per month. Population control is not a one-time fix. It requires consistency.
So if anyone on the council, in the community is aware of a feral colony or other overpopulation concerns, please contact Adam via the city's website and he will contact us. We maintain a detailed records of every cat fixed and every location monitored. And we're always looking for volunteers. So if you know of anyone who may be interested, they can reach out to us through our Facebook page or through Adam.
Again, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank the city of Kingsburg for your continued support and willingness to partner with us. Because of that support, we've been able to take a meaningful, measurable steps towards stabilizing our community's feral cat population. Thank you for your time this evening. And if anyone is interested, there's some flyers in the back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Mhm.
Great.
I have one question.
Sure.
You mentioned high impact areas.
Yes.
So where are those in Kingsburg?
Those are mainly the businesses, the parking lots. You could think of Denny's, Taco Bell, T-Mobile, Carl's Jr., Save
Downtown
Mart.
area, Marion Villas, Park Kingsburg.
Those are our businesses, parking lots are our main focus. From that, we go to schools, apartments, senior living areas. And then if there is a situation in the residential area with 15 more cats, we'll try to focus on that.
You say it's mainly parking lots, big parking lots.
You know, places where they're visible,
Not-
you know, I mean, they hide out.
Can't
you know.
hide that.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily big, some are Taco Bell, some are
Yeah.
Carl's Jr., some are McDonald's, but that can attract 10 or more. Usually if it's large areas, we try to focus on those. But when there's 2 cats can easily get to 10 cats, can easily get to 15 cats, can easily get to 50 cats. So we try to get it where.
Yeah, but because it's a city funded program, again, we try to focus on commercial areas as our primary
yeah.
focus, things that are visible to the public.
But if it gets out of hand in residential, that can also lead to
Yeah.
neighbor disputes.
And people dumping them back into commercial areas.
So we'll help out there too.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all. Thank you.
Does anyone from the public have any comments or questions about the program?
So.
Thanks, Ace.
No,
Thank you.
I would like to say thank you. Thank you for the time you're spending. It is very much appreciated. Mhm.
We did this for passion for the cats and passion for our community.
Okay, this is informational, so there's no action needed. Our next item is the microgrant application consideration, the Kingsburg Athletic Foundation, and the staff report by Assistant City Manager. Okay, Christina Winover.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me tonight. I am presenting on this topic for Alex as he's out. We have a representative here with us, Adam Hughes, and I'll let him give a small presentation as well about the project. But I'll kind of go over everything for you. So in 2017, the City Council created the microgrant program. We've included the program in your packet, and this program provides partners with the city, private residents, groups, or service clubs. It's part of our public-private partnership to help finance projects that may otherwise go unfunded. The main purposes of the program are to support our strategic priorities. Those include beautifying a public space or park, supporting community programs and group activities, enhancing safety benefit, improving the overall quality of life in our community, and then also promoting sustainable economic development. Staff received an application for matching funds that would be used to help purchase and replace the scoreboard at the Crandell Swim Complex. The applicant is seeking $25,000 in matching funds. However, based on the grant guidelines, the project is only eligible for up to $15,000 in funding. Again, the grant guidelines are included in the packet, as well as the documents and the actual application that we received. Staff completed the rubric and determined the project was eligible for funding. And the project, as described by the applicant, is to purchase and install an LED scoreboard and to move the location of the scoreboard from the west side of the pool to the north side of the pool. The Athletic Foundation is requesting the change on behalf of high school aquatics. The new scoring system will benefit all aquatics programs, including the Seawolves, TNT, and the Kingsburg Water Polo Club. As required by the program, the applicant has also provided signatures signaling community support for their project. There's a overview of project costs and funding included in your packet. There's a cost estimate provided by A+ Signs that includes the labor to remove and dispose of the existing scoreboard and to install the new scoreboard. It does not include any costs for necessary electrical installation at the new location. For this, the Athletic Foundation has received an additional quote for Silver Fox Electric for up to $11,637.50. So the applicant has also received funding support from the Kingsburg Healthcare District. The district has indicated to the Athletic Foundation that they will support the project in full, but they made the request to the applicants that they also seek financial support from the city as well. So a little background is related to the pool is the GPA, a joint powers agreement between the school and the city. The ownership and responsibility of the pool is unique. The land the pool sits on is city-owned. The responsibilities for ongoing maintenance are shared between the city and the Kingsburg High School. The applicants, at the behest of the healthcare district, sought city funding for the project. Because the city does not see the nexus directly related to a city use, that's why we determined it would be a better fit for the micro grant program. Staff has created an estimate that identifies anticipated staff oversight as well as expected hard costs for consultant services. Staff is recommending that any in-house staff time not be charged to the applicants, but that any consultant costs that require the city to make payment on, including like engineering and plan checking, be included as part of the micro grant award should the council decide to make that award. Furthermore, staff is recommending any miscellaneous costs related to the removal, relocation, installation, and maintenance of the new scoreboard to be borne by the applicants or included in the micro grant award. An idea of expenses would be like the sprinkler system, any landscaping, or like the costs for the IT related installation. So again, the staff recommendation is approval of the micro grant up to $15,000 to support the purchase and installation of a new LED scoreboard, inclusive of miscellaneous costs and any engineering and plan check fees required to complete the project, and to also approve a corresponding budget amendment authorizing the expenditure. And so before council gives any consideration, I'd like to invite Adam to just talk about the project a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. You did my job well for me. Thank you. Thank you guys, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having me in today. We appreciate the opportunity to even apply for a grant that's available from the community. I mean, something available like that helps out any program that could come forward and ask for things to help out in any aspect. So thank you for even having that there for us to apply for. We would appreciate the help if we could. We went to the healthcare district and they approved the project in full. Their ask was to please, go to the city because it's on city property, and we would like to see a little bit of help from the city if they could. And so our opportunity to apply for the micro grant was, I guess doing what they're asking, but also maybe helping us out on the, I guess the necessity if maybe the electrical goes a little bit over or something like that. Because these projects, we try to get them in as exact detail as we can, but there's always something or maybe a hiccup here and there. And we're going to try and utilize the existing conduits at the school, so we're not digging up the pool deck. We're using the lighting conduits, and then the only, I guess landscaping that we would do would be maybe moving some of the sprinklers and where we trench for the conduits to go for the power up to the scoreboard. So rather than concrete work, things like that, where we have to tear up the pool deck, it's looking like we've been able to get our initial cost down from over $200,000 to what was approved by the district, which was close to $137,000 for the scoreboard. And then in the area of, I think, 11,000 for the electrical and some miscellaneous equipment for storage of the electrical items and wiring and things like that, and labor for electrical installation. So that's where we're at right now. And the clubs that'll benefit you saw are the Seawolves, TNT, the Water Polo Club, and then the aquatics teams at the high school. And the high school, of course, we ask them first because it's, we go to them for the things first, but they never have money for us because they have to take care of all the programs and they have budgeted annually. So we look to the council and the healthcare district for help, and we've gotten the project approved and to this point. So anything that you guys are willing to do, we would appreciate it. And even taking a look at it, we appreciate it. So I'm here to answer any questions if you have any, and then we can go from there.
Okay, thank you. All right, council discussion.
I have just a couple quick technical questions, and I'm hoping you can answer them, Adam, because they're a little bit tricky. Like, so when we got the solar at Public Works, we're still waiting to go live there because there was a little bit of a PG&E scenario, right? And so are you, or is staff, I don't know, Daniel's not here, is staff aware of any potential issues that could come from the connection or the pull of this particular sign? Because it looks quite a bit larger, even though LED is more efficient. It looks quite a bit larger than the old sign. So I'm not sure if the amperage voltage, if that has all been, okay, the PG&E transformer can accompany all that load. Can you speak to that, or is that something that we'd have to drill down on with staff?
Well, Shannon Pasillas from Silver Fox Electric has taken a look at that multiple times, and he says it's more than capable of handling what we need there. So the availability of power is there already, and we're going to tie into the existing breaker box and panels that are there.
Okay, so there shouldn't be
any issues.
because that one can be a big one.
Yeah,
as we've learned. And then I guess the only other question would be for me is, this is an interesting one because the city technically, from the city side, taxpayer dollars really is meant to run the city. This is kind of meant to run the athletic. And so, but you have an athletic department that has a budget and funds for this type of stuff also, correct?
well, we have an athletic department with a budget, not on about for this type of stuff, because this is kind of above and beyond what they generally do, unless it's, what is needed. And currently what we've had in place has been there for, I believe, 15 to 17 years and has supported what we've needed. But the newer equipment that's come out, that board is failing now. And so we've been running off of tabletop scoreboards for the water polo, things like that. But if you go to many of the pools around the valley now, they have something similar to this, and it supports the new equipment. The operation of it, it's basically a big TV screen, so you're controlling the input and output of it. So it's not super technical on operating it, but once we get it there, I mean, we could talk to Adam and the city and see if there are things that they'd be able to do out there with it, maybe training for lifeguards or training city staff on the pool deck, seeing videos that, you know, everybody can watch that could be utilized by the city once it's there.
Okay, there could be some creative usage that we could potentially work on.
And the other programs that are out there are not affiliated with the high school. So like Seawolves has been a city staple for 40, 50 years now, and that runs all summer long, and they're going to be able to operate it. The same people that operate the high school operate for Seawolves right now, and TNT. So Seawolves, I'm, you know, advisor of the board. I'm the vice president of TNT Swim Club too. So I'm on all of it and kind of oversee a lot of it too. So we're making sure it gets installed and operates the correct way.
Okay, so just one more thing. I like the scoreboard, like the project, like partnering with the healthcare district wherever we can on things that make sense. My cause for reservation on something like this is what happens when the football scoreboard goes down. And the same thing happens, okay, we'll go to the healthcare district, they can help, but we want the city to match. City dollars are meant to run the city, not meant to run the football stadium, the scoreboard. You see where I'm going. So I said, it's a little bit of a slippery slope for me personally. I like the project. Where I'm getting past it is it's on city property.
Sure.
And so the city property is, we are going to be a beneficiary of whatever this project is, or what it turns out to be, whether it be we got to upgrade the conduit or the sprinkler system or whatever. So that's where I'm a little bit, I'm okay with it from the standpoint that, you know, we're not paying the whole $200,000, we're paying less than that, but it's on school property. But I just want to be very cautious that this is not something that comes before us with things that really aren't related to, you know, running the actual city, paying for things that actually run the city, even though we all know the athletics is super important to all of us. We understand that. We've all given our time, you know, coaching or helping with boosters or running a concession stand. So I think that's all the questions I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Can I make it, just because I think I'm on a little bit of the same path as you, Dave. I want to talk about there's two separate things kind of mixed into the same conversation. One is the micro grant. So the fact that it's a micro grant, I'm 100% supportive. It's a yes for me, but it's because it's a micro grant. Where I think Councilmember Silva's going, which has nothing to do with you, Adam, is this is a joint powers agreement issue that we're talking about. I don't like the JPA as it sits because it's ambiguous as far as who pays for these kinds of things.
Right.
And I look at this GPA like we can put lipstick on this all we want, but at the end of the day, this scoreboard is not for city use.
Right.
It's not. Like, we can maybe like stretch the imagination to say it is, but the reality is it's absolutely not. It's not going to be used for city specific events. What it will do is it will help host tournaments, bring people into town, which is no different than what we've given for other micro grants. B of A building, we gave tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars towards that building because it enhances the Kingsburg thing. So for that reason, I'm good. My hang up is not with the grant, so that's a yes. My hang up is this is a joint powers agreement with the school. The school is not funding it. I go to that pool daily now with the amount of kids that I have there. And I'll tell you, it's neglected. And it's neglected on the school's end. And it's a frustration for me because this joint powers agreement is meant for us to share usage, not for us and the healthcare district to supplement their lack of proper budgeting. And that's how it feels. And these are conversations that I think we as electeds need to have with their electeds, that this JPA, we're responsible for maintenance. We're responsible for things with that, but those bathrooms are gross.
Yeah.
They need to be fixed. That's not the swim. They're shared with the football stadium. That's the school's responsibility. The guard shack's ours, 100%. We should maintain that, make sure it's right. The pool decking's a disaster. The bleachers need to be replaced. We need more shade. There's a lot of things there, but the school just keeps saying, we're not going to fund it. We don't have money. We don't have money. We find it. That's their responsibility. You're using the healthcare dollars to get this project done. And respectfully, Adam, you shouldn't have to go to the healthcare district. The school should pay for this. And yes, they get what, $20 million in a school bond. There should be money allocated for that. So that's my frustration, but I do want to silo those two things. Let's not call it what it's not.
Right.
This is us giving a micro grant to an organization that I think is doing a great thing. If anybody's gone to SeaWolves events, you know that 1,000 people come in there, whether you like it or not, for 5 or 6 hours. So they're going to be in Kingsburg. They're bringing visitors. They're doing all that stuff, and so that's great. But this is not a city scoreboard. It's not. It's us giving that money to them to have people come to town. So I'm supportive of the grant, but I'm very frustrated with the school district. I have been regarding everything pool related for a long time. So you're doing a great job, Adam. You're super creative. You're finding ways to get things done for these kids that they need, and I appreciate it. But I do want to, at some point, I think this is more for you, Christina. I want to revisit this JPA. I think that there's a better way for us to obligate the school, because it seems like the school is paying for only the things that they absolutely have to when they're absolutely forced to. So let's force it, because we own the property, but we're equity owners in this. And if it's deteriorating because of their lack of upkeep, that shouldn't be our responsibility to subsidize their poor budgeting. So that's all. Sorry, I know you can't say these things working for the school, Adam, but that's my thought on it.
I'll support whatever you need my help with. That's that.
I think that this is a great project, and yeah, anybody who's spent time out there any time of year knows how many of our citizens, including our little kiddos, are out there. It's thousands of our citizens a year. And so I see the benefit of it. And I'm for the project. I'm for this micro grant because I think it meets our criteria. The one thing I am concerned about, and I just wanted to bring up to you, is I was sitting here in 2018 when we approved another one for the high school, and it was their marquee. So we paid for, I don't remember if it was the full thing, a good chunk of it in 2018. I think it probably got installed in 2019. We all saw what happened in 2025. I feel like that's a waste of taxpayers' money because I don't even know where that went. It was up there maybe 6 years, and we helped fund that. I heard you say that the current scoreboard has been 17 years. I think that's a good run. I don't want to like help support this. And then in 5, 6 years, it be put in the trash or wherever the other one went, because I think that we're here elected to be good stewards of this money. And so, I mean, it would have been nice if they could have given that to you for the scoreboard. I don't know if it works like that, but I just wanted to point that out that if we approve this, I would like it to last more than 6 years.
Yeah. What I do, I'm out there quite a bit, and I take care of that pool as best I can with the time that I have out there. And the pool's a beautiful facility when it's taken care of, and it's a struggle out there. And there's times where I'm calling whoever I need to get stuff taken care of out there. So I do appreciate any support and the support of the project. So I thank you. And if you guys have any more questions for me, I'm here. Call me and come out to the pool deck. I'm there.
Yeah, I'm in favor of this program too, of this micro grant for the new scoreboard there at the pool. But the Lord does bring up a good point. But I think, Lord, that board out in front of the high school was kind of small, and they wanted a bigger one, and the technology today is, get a bigger and better one. But yeah, it was only there. I think you're right. Was it 6 years?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
feel like this grant isn't for like a certain amount of time until
Yeah,
they want
I
something
think
bigger.
the scoreboard for the pool will be there at least 10 to 15 years.
Mhm.
Hopefully. I know it looks nice and big, and the technology, it's LED, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so, it's good for like I said, good for the community, for the kids, especially for all the kids, all the Seawolves and the TNT kids that go. Now TNT, they don't have competitions there, do they?
They've started this
they have
during
started.
the last couple of years
Okay, I
because a
didn't know
lot of the facilities are not supporting some of those meets anymore. So we've stepped up and helped them run them, and they're having them there now.
So they are now,
mhm.
okay. Well, I'm definitely in favor of this micro grant. I'm a former Seawolves, and my kids, my grandkids, so 3 generations, maybe 4 coming here pretty soon. We'll see. Yeah, right. Right.
I think Seawolves has only lost the championship one time in the last 40 years.
Right. Yep. My kids have been part of a
Yeah.
few of those themselves. Yeah. Right. Thank you, Adam.
Mhm.
No, I support the program. I think this is a good program, and yes, like has been mentioned, the goal is to bring people to downtown to see our beautiful town, and I appreciate you guys welcoming in other communities for the tournaments and that, and it's great to have a good place for them to go. I do have one question for Christina, just some clarification on the micro grants. Can you remind us again? This isn't a budgeted item, so we don't have a pool of resources. So if we award this money, it's not that something else. How does that work? Can you just clarify?
Yes, so every year as part of the budget, we plan for capital improvement projects. Because this wasn't included in the capital improvement program, we would be part of the staff recommendation is to also approve a budget adjustment or amendment so that we can move funding in place of this program. Yes, we do have the funding available for it. It just wasn't a line item in the program itself.
So if we got another micro grant, it's not that this one would, disallow somebody else from bringing one forward. I just want to.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Very good.
But
thank
there are
you.
deadlines, right? The deadlines have passed for this year.
I
I
think
think there's a November 1st and a February 1st deadline.
And on an as received basis.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment or questions on this item?
Chris Peterson, resident. First of all, to clarify for Councilmember North, the smaller marquee that the city used a micro grant, or the high school used a city micro grant to install, has been moved to the interior of the campus near the quad. I don't know what building. It's kind of near the snack bar, the quad, and it displays student or school student messages like, remember to turn in this, or the bulletin, and it has the weather, just whatever, but it's really just besides the weather, it's very much internal messages for students. And it's digital, and I was, one time it was at night, it's been a couple months, and it was going at night. So I don't know the parameters of their use, but that's what happened to it. So they didn't just toss it. They're using it in an appropriate manner for the students. And also, I was told that even though this new marquee digital bulletin board or billboard or whatever it's called, was funded through the healthcare district, the high school is honoring the original agreement with the city for the first one, the micro grant, about displaying or advertising city events. And if you see, I noticed, I mean, their focus, of course, is going to be school. It's now that you see the play, and there's something about FAFSA, and I don't know, forgot the other one, but also they have the city cleanup dates for March. And I don't know if Christina sends that info over to the high school or somebody else, or Alex, I don't know, but somebody from city sends that info over and asks them to put it up, because there's just a couple of people that have had the training with the new digital billboard to learn how to use it and whatever it is to make it work. So that's just informational, and I just recently found that out, so I thought I would share. Secondly, Seawolves has been around for probably 70 years or more, because I know when I was on it, way back when and how old I am. And it was existed long before I was a sea wolf at age 6. And Kingsburg has had generations and generations of really good swimmers and known for a small school, known for having really good swimmers, not only on sea wolves, but then with the high school program. And now the water polo team, because the water polo hasn't always existed. So, and generations and generations, and I know everyone I swam with within my, plus or minus 5 years. And I remember who was on my relay, when, and just the other day I was somewhere and there happened to be 3 other people. And I thought, we've got a freestyle relay here. And we all kind of laughed because none of us have swam competitively for quite some time. So that's something too, I think that the pool, the city, the tradition, the Kingsburg experience of having really good swim teams for over a half a century. So anyway, just
Okay. Any continued council discussion? Well, if not, the possible action is staff recommends approval of the micro grant up to $15,000 to support the purchase and installation of a new LED scoreboard inclusive of miscellaneous cost and any engineering and plan check fees required to complete the project, and to approve a corresponding budget adjustment authorizing the expenditure.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Our next item is the Q3, Q4 calendar year 2025 code enforcement update with a presentation by building official AJ O'Connell.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. AJ O'Connell, building official. I'm pleased to provide this update on the city's code enforcement efforts for the last 6 months of 2025. As has become our custom, we strive to provide these updates to you biannually to keep you informed and briefed. The statistics that are provided in your packet represent a 6-month snapshot of cases that were generated within the last 2 quarters of 2025. This information is just limited to the cases that are initiated within this time frame. The holistic 2025 statistics for the entire year are still being compiled and analyzed by staff and management, and we can provide you with those numbers should you desire. 375 separate code enforcement cases were generated in Q3, Q4 25, which is a 10% decrease from the same period in 2024. 70% of those cases were generated proactively by code enforcement officers out in the community. The largest number of cases generated in this time frame were for violations of the city's water usage ordinance, representing more than a quarter of the cases. General property maintenance and inoperative vehicle violations were the next largest categories of cases that were generated. In terms of increase of cases year over year, the Code Enforcement Division saw an increase in cases generated for graffiti violations and building condition complaints. Of the 375 total cases that were created, nearly 83% have already been resolved. This is a remarkable but hardly surprising compliance rate for abatement of violations. I want to pointedly emphasize this statistic as it shows that the community of Kingsburg overwhelmingly recognizes and supports the importance of clean neighborhoods, compliant properties, and city staff efforts to collaborate with property owners to address violations. In total, for those last 6 months of 2025, code enforcement staff performed 960 inspections. This is a 9% increase from the same period in 2024. The fail rate for the inspections increased year over year from 59% to 62%. For the cases that were generated in this time frame, I do want to note that 28 administrative citations were issued in an amount totaling $4,650. There was a 0% collection rate on those assessments. In November 2025, the Mayor and City Council approved via ordinance the adoption of the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code. This new code took effect on January 1. The adoption of this modern and resilient property maintenance code is critical for ensuring that our community continues to maintain the high standard of living that defines the Kingsburg experience. This is a notable accomplishment. Many cities across the state of California are either enforcing an outdated code or lack an adopted property maintenance code altogether. This past Monday, I took a bike ride along one of the paths around my family's house in Visalia. And I took a route that I don't normally traverse, and it goes along an old railroad right-of-way. It allowed me to see the condition of many of the houses that back up along this bike path. And what I saw was pretty remarkable, and I was aghast. Dilapidated fences, overgrown yards, inoperative vehicles, unpermitted construction, graffiti. It was depressing and infuriating at the same time. These properties were bringing down the character of the neighborhood. These properties had become havens of ill repute. These properties were just plain unsafe. As I quickly whisked by, I whispered to myself just how thankful it is to work with citizens of Kingsburg in the code enforcement profession. Unlike some of our other sister cities, we are able to engage in enforcement from a standpoint of maintaining a standard. I have had other code enforcement officers express envy to me at how our community preserves and protects its maintenance standards. This is a direct credit to the people of Kingsburg. And I conclude this presentation with a modicum of gratitude and appreciation. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, council discussion.
I have a question. 'Cause I actually like looking at your data you produce. So when you categorize it on the chart, you have a specific category for in-op vehicles, and then there's a separate category for parking violations. Can you give me some examples of what you're considering those parking violations? Is that like parking on the lawn? What is that?
Exactly. Parking on the lawn. We also have done some police department support for parking violations on the street as well. We may have contacts with the property owner. Inoperative vehicles are unlicensed vehicles, abandoned vehicles, wrecked vehicles. So we consider those different.
So like the RV that you brought to light for this specific one, is that RV something you're categorizing as an in-op vehicle, or is that something you're categorizing as a parking violation?
We consider it an operative vehicle.
Okay. No, thank you. I appreciate everything you do. I do.
Thank you.
I have one question. You said that was $4,000 and zero was collected?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, and that's because the reason is, I mean, they took care of the violations?
Oftentimes.
Okay, good.
We're still in the process of collecting, our whole year statistics when it comes to administrative citations. The 4,650, those are for cases that were generated just within that 6-month span of time. I could say that, looking kind of as a preview of, the holistic yearly numbers, our administrative citation amounts are pretty staggering. And that's, because we've started to see repeated non-conformance. That $4,650, that's just what we issued on the cases that were generated within 6 months. Some of those cases are still active. Some of those cases we're still issuing administrative citations for. I think that the collection of that, we do work with property owners to waive some. Hey, look, you may not, you've been out of town, or you're making a good faith effort or something. Yeah, we're not just going to go around just write tickets. So we do waive some. I can tell you though that we're starting to see repeat offenders where, hey, look, we've cited you on this violation previously within the last 12 months. What's up? Maybe $125 ticket is gonna, get you to keep the weeds down. But we've also started to see an increase in where we initiate a case where we've gone through our progressive code enforcement process, a courtesy notice, declaration of a public nuisance, first offense ad site, second offense ad site, third offense ad site, and now we're moving on to daily $500 ad sites. I think the last time that I came and spoke with you, we were talking about that particular type of property. That property, we had a code enforcement case that was open for about 4 months. They racked up about $20,000 worth of fines. And that was because of just continual non-compliance with our notices, with our orders. Collecting that is, something that we're gonna probably have to have a conversation about. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I appreciate what you do. I know that I've had a lot of people call me about, hey, I got a violation. They're all worried about it. I said, hey, look, just talk to AJ, talk to Alex and, or Alex, and it puts their mind at ease. They, oh yeah, I'm glad I called, I'm glad you recommended, and you've always worked with them in extension or whatever they needed, give them the right advice to take care of their violation. So I appreciate what you do, for Kingsburg. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just a quick question. Back to this graph here. It's interesting, the building condition really went up. Are you seeing something? Are you focusing on that more, or are you really seeing a trend that we have more issues that fall in that arena?
I can really only speak anecdotally on that. We have, for better or for worse, we have an aging housing stock here. And you start to see deterioration of building elements. It's just natural. I also think too, you have kind of the world that we live in where, hey, owning a house and maintaining a house is expensive. And it's even more expensive if you have an older house. Stuff's expensive now. Labor's expensive. Materials expensive. Oftentimes you need to have specialized contractors to do the work to maintain, and it's expensive. The economics about it. We all see the news. We all see what's going on. So I think that's part of a reason why. I also think too that we're a little bit more cognizant of when those particular conditions rise to the level of it being unsafe, not just for the residents, but also for neighbors, for the community, and our first responders. So, for example, we had a case this past week where we had some property maintenance concerns. My biggest concern was, okay, what happens if a firefighter in full turnout gear has to respond here for a medical emergency and they're sitting on a front porch that we have questions about structural soundness? Firefighter falls. And now all of a sudden we have 2 emergencies that we're dealing with. So we have an aging housing stock. I get that. I understand. Working with the property owners and making sure that we are effective in collaborating with them and conveying those concerns that we have is priority number 1 in trying to address that. We'll see just how the year plays out these next 6 months. But we're not by sale yet. So that's knock on wood, we're good.
No. No, thank you. And I thank you for adding an element of, working with the public, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there any additional council discussion?
Just one quick thing, AJ. Just appreciate you and Dana, the staff, and also I know Public Works works on some of this stuff also for the water violations and things of that nature. And so I appreciate them because, they're out in the neighborhoods also. So thank you for all you do. I know it's not always glamorous giving somebody a warning for their weeds or graffiti, but we appreciate you because it's things like that that keep this Kingsburg experience alive and people wanting to move here and, it being the envy of other communities. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Nothing further, Mayor.
Well, this item is informational only, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Future agenda items, and we have none listed, so I will move on to the city manager's report.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Council reports and committee reports. We'll start with Councilmember North.
Good evening. I have 2 things to report on. The first thing is the healthcare district meeting that was it last week? It was last week. Yes,
Yes.
a week ago. The Kingsburg Fire Department did a report on the AED implementation and the plan. The healthcare district is going to help fund different organizations, and one of the main ones they were talking about were churches that can apply to have AEDs installed and a training plan that goes over like for 3 years of implementation. So it was a very good report, a great plan. They put a hold on it to make decisions on how to roll it out. And how to get that information out to churches and other organizations. They want to make sure that it is the same for whoever applies for that, the same AED machine, the same process. So no matter where our residents are, if they've been trained in it and they're around it, they will know how to use that specific brand. Also, Linda Simmons from Kingsburg Elementary School District, she is the coordinator for community schools, approached the board to ask them if they could reallocate the money that they gave them for the 5K, because the district is not going to be doing the 5K anymore. The Rotary is no longer doing the Dollar Trot, and the district is doing the Dollar Trot. So they did reallocate that money. And because signups are a little more expensive with the Dollar Trot than they were with the 5K, the healthcare district added an additional $2,500 for scholarships of students in order for them to participate in the Dollar Trot. So it's probably going to be like a discount code is what they'll end up getting. SKF, I attended that last week, and Council Member Palomar was acknowledged for his 3 years on the board, and they gave him a really nice plaque and resolution for that. Also, they shared with us the Supervisor of the Year is Richard Westerling, and he was in attendance. And the only other thing that we really did was we did the general manager's evaluation. So that's all I have to report on.
Good, thank you. Councilmember Silva?
Thank you. I have a long list. Thank you to Councilmember North for filling in at Kingsburg Healthcare District. Appreciate that. South Kings GSA meeting got moved to March 11th at 5:30, location yet to be determined. When it comes to chamber, I filled in for Councilmember North there. They had a long list of items. I will tell you that the car show meeting committee is on February 26th at 5:30. That got moved also. It was supposed to be this week. So for any of those that want to go to the car show committee meeting, February 26th, 5:30 at Chambers. And then discussion of the chamber board elections. So there's 3 seats available. There were 6 candidates that are vying for those 3 seats. So I'll give you just a quick list of the candidates: Nancy Thompson, Michelle Andrade, Penny Kyle, Brandon Limborn. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Lamborn, Ernie Perez, and Adrian Perez. Ernie Perez and Adrian Perez, most of you know, are on the board. They are on the board currently, but they are termed out, so they need to run again against everyone else. And so a couple key takeaways. The voting ballots will be going out to chamber members. They really emphasize that chamber members fill those out, please, because that determines the board members. They wouldn't, they want the actual chamber members to decide the board members, not the board members to decide the board members, which makes a lot of sense. And so they wanted to emphasize that. The bid gave a nice report. They have several different things working, so I'll just touch on some of those real quick. They understand that there's a lot of things going on with chamber coming up, a lot of the events, and so they offered their help and partnership where possible. I thought that was really nice. They're willing to work collaboratively with the chamber. So I think, together they can do some amazing things. They've proven it in the past, so that was good. The bid is also working on a workshop regarding the Draper Corner designs and landscaping. So they kind of want to revisit that and maybe do a workshop with people and dress up those corners even more. And so I thought that was interesting. The bid is looking to move forward on the decorative Swedish phone booth. So they were talking about they're in for at least one. They want to see that one gets put at a location somewhere to be determined downtown. They have a couple ideas, but obviously they have to work with Public Works and try to figure out where that best fit is. So I thought that was exciting. They did discuss the financials, ways to become more financially sustainable. A few different ideas around that, working with the festivals to maybe allocate a portion of the proceeds for future events and then expanding future events. But in order to do that, they'd have to have some funds. So they talked about, trying to put some of those funds away, yet to be determined on percentages and all the rest of that. Good news for the chamber. They added 7 new members in the month of January and then 3 new members in the month of February up to the 10th, because that's when the report was given. Hopefully they've added some more since then. And then 78 new social media followers. So they continue to get new followers every day. So they're getting noticed. Moving on to the Economic Development Committee. We have not met, but there are a few things going that I'll just touch on briefly. Cody Webb of CK Gaines is looking for a business location here in Kingsburg. So I know Jolene Poliak has had conversations with him trying to find a location. It's an interesting, I don't know a lot about it because it's still new to me, but it's a little bit of tech related company. So he's trying to find tech and retail. So trying to find a spot. Moving on, Peckham's Craft Barbecue. That is a catering service. They also sometimes do pop-ups around. They did rent some space at the Swedish Mall as they need it. So there is a sign in the Swedish Mall for people that have noticed that. And then the old Morgan's facility on Draper, there used to be, the Humankind was there over the holidays. The Humankind has exited because that was a temporary arrangement. There is a new business that's going to come in there soon, and you'll see the sign on the window. Third Time's the Charm Vintage Market. So they secured that storefront for, I believe it's a year. And so good to have them come into that location. And then after that, I think that concludes my report. I think I have everything on there. If I missed something, please forgive me. But
Can I add one thing?
yes, please add one.
Lauren Nickel just confirmed that March 24th is the annual chamber dinner.
Okay.
And it is going to be at Ramos Torres at 6 o'clock. And the keynote speaker will be Margaret Mims. You can contact the chamber most likely for tickets, and they should have more information out soon.
Oh, I forgot one other item. Important. I'm glad you came, Chief Stevens, because you remind me of all these things. The Kiwanis is having a dinner in honor of Chief Stevens, is a welcome dinner, and that's going to be at the Senior Center. It's dinner. There are $25 tickets for dinner there, and that is going to be, I'm trying to find it, 6 p.m. on the 24th. So anyone can attend that, and all are welcome. And Chief Stevens will be there, and I don't know. Are you the keynote speaker too? You're kind of, yeah, there you go. I'm sorry. Yeah. February 24th. Yeah. That's next week.
Next
Yeah.
week, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
Councilmember Paladin.
Public Safety Committee, we met last week. We had the police department come in. Sergeant Kroger did a presentation on an indoor drone. So the police department is looking to now get it. They have an outdoor drone already, and they're looking to get an indoor drone. It was very interesting because that drone can go into a house and it can bump on walls, and it's got sensors, and I'm sure once they get it, they'll do a presentation for the city council, but it's very interesting. So the committee voted to allocate $4,000 to help the police department get that indoor drone. Also, we allocated $2,500 to the SRO for bicycle helmets for You Matter Day, so that they'll be able to, the police department will have their own area where they'll pass out, they'll have a lot of things again and have those, I guess you spin a wheel or something and win, you can win a bicycle helmet. And then also we welcomed our newest member, Fire Chief Rodney Roberts, to our committee, Public Safety. So yeah, he's a good addition to our committee. Planning Commission met last week. The commission elected Sherman Dix as the new chair and Brian Arcero as vice chair. And then Community Service Commission is scheduled to meet next week on the 25th. That's all I have.
Very good, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Purcell?
The only thing I have is a little bit of COG update. We haven't had a meeting since, but just bringing up once again, Measure C. We now have 2 competing citizens initiatives. They're seeking endorsements. Both are reaching out. As of right now, I have not endorsed either of them. I'd like to see a little bit more vetting before I commit to that. But for anybody that's listening, and for sure for council, I would say pay real close attention to these. There's a lot to unpack with both measures. There's some very significant differences for Kingsburg specifically. So I'm not going to try and sway somebody one way or the other with it, but I do want people to make a good choice with this. This is going to be a very important transportation measure. And your options are, the Transportation for All group, the ones that are head up, the other ones by Tony Boren, in that group. And then you're going to have obviously the option of voting no to either. But I'm kind of on the back end working to try to maybe bring both groups to Kingsburg at the same time for a workshop, not to host a debate, not because these are very contentious meetings, not to try to come in here and have them fight it out. But I really want the people of Kingsburg to hear both sides from their perspective and be able to ask both sides so that people can make an informed decision, whichever way that is. Because it's going to be a very important thing that's going to impact our budgets, our roadways, and about 60% of people in Kingsburg leave the city every day, and it's going to impact them on their regional arteries as they travel. So that's all I have for COG. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Okay, the Finance Committee that was scheduled for next week is going to be postponed. So the next meeting there is going to be March 23rd. The next bid meeting is going to be March 3rd. And outside of my committee reports, the chamber hosted a ribbon cutting yesterday at Marcy's Heart Insurance. It's right next door to Ramos on Golden State. And so it was nice to welcome a new business close to the downtown corridor. And then Tuesday that evening, they hosted the chamber mixer. So there was a good turnout. Lauren does a beautiful job just, speaking about you learn so much about the business. It was very nice. Her approach to ribbon cuttings is really interesting, and I appreciate it. But with that is all I have, and I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you for joining us.